Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm very happy to host this first release notes session of the year. Thank you for joining it. You'll see that it will be quite short, so it will let us a lot of time in the end to answer all of your questions. So don't hesitate to ask any question that you may have in the chat, and we'll take time at the end to answer all of these. Okay, so first, before starting, just a quick reminder right here that the new player interface will be the default interface by April 25th. So between now and April 25th, do not hesitate to start using the new player interface as much as possible. It should all by now be your default interface, and you should only switch occasionally to the old one for necessary purposes. But this way you can start using the new interface and better understand how it works, enjoy the new features, and also make all your or send us all your feedback so that we can keep improving it and fixing the few last things that there is to fix. So start using this new interface as your default one. Okay, so the first new feature that there is in this FD01 is a big improvement of the composite variable in general. So you'll find a lot of new small features related to the composite variable and um, an improved way of using them. So let me just show you directly what it looks like. It will be much better. Okay, so I have launched a process right here with a task, and I have in my form a very wide composite variable, as you can see. And the issue was that you had to scroll horizontally like this to see all your columns and then scroll back to the left to see the first items, etc. And then you had to scroll back and forth like this. But this is over because we added a new button right here, which will allow you to see the composite variable in full screen this way. Okay, so you'll be able to work directly on your composite variable using all the width of your screen, which makes things a lot easier. Okay, you can directly see all the data right here and new rows, modify the existing ones, etc., just like you did before, but in a much more comfortable format. Okay, so the same for the same purpose to help you better work on your composite variable, we added another feature right here to allow you to freeze the first columns, okay, up to the third one. Let's see what it looks like when I freeze up to the third column. Okay, I have my first three columns, the first name and the last name that are frozen right now, which allows me to scroll around the rest of the composite variable without moving the first columns, which makes things a lot easier if I want to modify something at the end. I don't want to hide the first information right here. Okay po. Another improvement in the new player interface 2 is the comeback mode. So same thing, I will show you directly so that you can better understand what's new. Okay, so same task right here with my composite variable on the right. This time, let's have a look to the left side, the information side of my task. Uh, Usually what you had was a form that looked like this with the all the information stacked one over in the other right here, and you couldn't change much the layout of the different fields. But now you have a small button here which will allow you to switch to the compact mode, which looks like this. Okay, so this time you have the name of the field on the left and the contents on the right, which means that you now have two columns. Okay, the information is split between two columns that you can also customize like this to improve the use of the space that you have in the information, which will also allow you to avoid having to scroll down when you have a very long information panel right here. So this time it's regrouped, so you don't have to scroll and you can customize your interface. This option also is saved between your task, so it's up to you to choose if you want to display the information like this or like this, depending on the length of the information panel, of course. Small improvements on the monitoring too. You now have the possibility to see who shared a filter with you. Okay, it's just small improvement to better understand where all your customized filters and views come from. And also now it is your preferences of the different tabs are saved. Let me just show you again what I'm talking about. Let's have a look at a monitoring view just like this. Okay, let's say for example here you don't want to see the table view but the diagram view. Okay, now this preference here is saved, which means that if you switch to another monitoring view like the last one here, your preference is saved. Okay, small improvements, but it makes things much easier to switch between your different monitor views. So in general, big improvements on the user experience of the new player interface, and all of this is of course thanks to your feedback. So again, I really insist to not hesitate to use this new interface, make your feedbacks, give us all the ideas that you want to see implemented, and we'll of course work on that. Okay, so that's it for the new player interface. But there is another huge feature this time on the designer part. Okay, this is very important because it will allow you to considerably expand the way you use ITEROP and the way you connect it to other applications. Okay, I cannot stress enough how this is a big improvement because basically what you had before for the connectors part, the way you connected ITEROP to other applications of the 3D experience, you didn't have much choice. You had to wait until we developed connectors, specific connectors to other applications, and you had to ask us for new developments. You had to make ERs, and you had to wait until we developed these connectors. Now, you do not have to wait for new connectors anymore. You can use our new API gateway custom REST service, which allows you like this to build your own connectors to any other application of the 3D experience platform, which means that you can build your own connector. You can just go to the documentation, the API documentation, retrieve the right URL, and build this way your own connector with much more flexibility than before, because you do not need, of course, to wait for the connectors. And also you do not have to worry about the authentication because it is built in directly in the the API gateway connector. and you have still a consistent experience with the older mechanisms that you already know, for example, the on behalf, etc. Uh, by the way, we have added also a documentation page about this if you wish to know more. So you can just click and you will see the documentation. I don't, maybe some of you did not discover our new documentation yet, so this is the opportunity to go and see what it looks like. It is in a wiki page format, which will also allow you to comment directly in the wiki pages, so you can tell us if something's missing, if the documentation is not up to date, if you wish to know more, etc. So don't hesitate to go and have a look. There's also a small change in the data retention settings. Not much, it's just the default value that has been changed. Before it was 1 year by default for all the variables, and now it has been changed to always by default. It's just the by default value that has been changed just to avoid having issues like unexpected data deletion after a year, uh, just because you forgot to configure your data retention. So now it is always by default, except for the files, of course, that are only kept for a year. And you can, of course, still change to customize your own data retention period for all your variables of the process. In the same for the same reasons, we updated the number of possible versions for a same variable. Okay, now only 100, the last 100 versions of one specific field are kept, plus the latest version and the very first one. Okay, so it's very rare that you will have a variable that is updated more than 100 times. It's an extreme case, but we just added it to the release note just so you know. But indeed, it's not a very common use case. And of course, a list of new connectors that you can discover for many apps that we had for a long time, like Sway and Project Planning and Issue, but also for a new app that is 3D Portfolio for the soluble items. You will find a long list of new operations. So we can now have a full interconnection between ITEROP and 3D Portfolio. And just as a quick reminder, for most of you, the release notes, all the new features that I've talked about will be available on February 7, 2026.